Alrighty, here we go with episode 169, or as I like to call it, pre-filler. Because we got a couple fillers coming up to this. Let's go and get into it. This time I've got it queued up with the fade in. I mean, this six and one half dozen another. I don't know, man. I hate the fade ins. I'd like it to just be a straight hard cut so we know exactly where to queue up. But they didn't. They didn't create this series with me doing reactions in mind. So, it is what it is. Let's go and get into it. Three, two, one. Oh man, look at them. They got the sad music. Well, you see, when a girl loves a boy, if I cared about that shipping crap, I would speculate: is he going to end up with her, or is he going to end up with Sakura, or is he going to die and it won't matter? But somebody's got to be the mother of his kid, right? Which of the two would be the mother of his kid? I don't care. But if I did care, I would speculate. This slug voice is so good, man. It's so good. What a good choice. I guess you're in communication with Baby Slug, right? That's how you know this. This was a clever offensive defensive plan here. That's right. He ate that, bitch. You thought. I give. That's where they ended the last episode. What a great line. Give up on trying to make me give up. Wrecked. He just floats to the ground like a butterfly. Now he's coming for that ass. Get him out of here. Boom. I'm so fascinated with the clones. So much of this show we have shit that's outside of human experience, right? So we have to kind of extend our mind. So I've thought about this. I have like long drives where I'm thinking and stuff. Nothing to do but think. I'm trying to come up with a parallel of suddenly you get the memories of somebody else just flood into you. And the only thing I can think of is if you drank hard last night and you wake up and you don't remember last night at first, and then slowly the memories start coming back to you. Wait a minute. I hit on that girl at the bar. Jesus. The hell was I thinking? And I told her I was an astronaut. What the hell was I thinking? And she turned me down, thank God, because, wouldn't want to date under those circumstances anyway. Then I told the bartender I only had Belgian money. What was I thinking? You know what I'm saying? So it's like these memories start coming back to you. I don't know if it's like that or it's like. I love the example they gave us where they did the rock, paper, scissors in the forest out of sight, and all of a sudden it came back to, hey, you owe me dinner. I don't know. I would. That's a thing that's just outside our experience. We have no parallel for that. So it's really hard to wrap your mind around it. You just kind of got to go with it, right? Kind of like astral projection, That's not something we can really do. So what would that be like? It's the sky's the limit, It's however you want it to be. Broken. Break that son of a bitch. Look at him. He is laid out, man. You just got knocked the F out. Now, you know where he is. Let's go see him. You can play with his body later. Let's go talk to the dude, man. What the hell are you doing? It's disgusting. I see. I guess, yeah, make sure the monster's dead. I get it. So he really was just a dead body being puppeted. That's a little sad, man. I thought they had a little bit of their own autonomy. So this will be how he actually gets to him. Okay. You should know where he is now. Shut up, baby scared slug. Well, then let's rush out there, man. We need to chase the real one down. Of course, he has a woman protecting him, so that's a problem. Man, we don't care what he said. What's the worst thing that could happen if you follow? I'm with them, man. What harm could it do? If you get there and he's in the middle of something, it seems like if if you get to him and he's in the middle of something, it looks like you would interfere. Then you just hold back. But getting there's what's the problem with that, right? Look at him. The hell you doing? Yeah, would you trust this? I don't know if I do. These aren't the people I recognize. Well, that's kind of zen. I wonder how fast he can move. Because you know he's out trying to get out of here, right? This conversation is slowing shit down. Okay, I start to see the problem here. Why are you so aggro? I'm with Naruto. Okay, now I'm with Naruto. We don't have time to break it down now. This is happening too fast. Crush him, I tell you. Slow your roll, bitch. Back up, Steve. Yeah, but. Good shit. You're really starting to get on my nerves. Wasn't expecting a random flashback. Okay, so that's who this is. Okay. It always is, isn't it? A little je ne sais quoi. Some people just have that. You either have it or you don't. You can be a leader without it, but you're not going to be a good one. Sometimes you got to have a little faith. That was one of the times I wish I could have paused it because they were making interesting points on both sides, and I was switching with each line of dialogue. But I ended up on his side. You got to try to talk to him. What's harm done? You try to talk to him, it doesn't work, then you can kill him. You know, but at least talk to him first. I like your little hidey hole here. Saddam Hussein has something similar. He just wants to talk and hang out. Maybe watch a little Seinfeld. Look at him, man. He is wrecked. I bet he's that third boy. Yes, he does. Peacemaker can mean both things, though. This or this, right? Either one can be the peacemaker. And people have used it both ways. So careful what you wish for. F you. Interesting. This is an interesting tack to take. F you. Oh shit. His chair had weapons. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think it's gonna work. Kind of reminds me of the puppets with all the weapons the puppet had. Remember that Sasore? Oh shit! Did you fall for this shit? Really? Nah, this is a clone, man. Man, whatever it is we think we're seeing today, what we're seeing. I don't believe this crap. I can't believe you'd fall for that. Oh shit! Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is him. He's about to consume you. Man, the fox looks pissed. I almost called him a tiger. That's what he kind of reminds me of right now. That's right. Eat him up. Nice try. And why is your name so similar to his? That's confusing. Okay, he let you. Gotcha. But now you piss me off. Yeah, check out a book. I was thinking I might shove this pole up his ass. You really suck that much. So much for that, chump. So he was more of a problem than she was. I thought she was going to be the biggest problem in the room, physically, right? But he was an idiot. Neither was I, to be honest with you. I like it when we knock each other out. I also like her body language. She was scared to defend, and he relaxed, and so did she. Don't take the whole moral high ground with me, you asshole. Look what you've been doing. F you. This is weak as hell. He is the boy. Okay, that confirms it. He abandoned us. He didn't abandon you. I mean, they all kind of have an interesting backstory, though, even if we don't know what it is. I don't think any of them's a cardboard villain, to be honest with you. Yeah, we'll do that during the filler. Great. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna find out what became why they turned the way they did. What happened after he left. Interesting. Okay, so here's the thing. We're gonna combat hate and defeat hate. And maybe that's in game of the series. I hadn't really thought about that, but that I'm starting to wonder if that's what they're doing here. So it's such a broad thing. It's like, in Harry Potter, they talked about defeating corruption in the government. There's corruption in the government, but the author is never specific about what that corruption actually means. Corruption could be, well, these people voted for me, so they're going to get priority for resources and infrastructure. And this borough didn't vote for me, so screw them, right? That could be corruption. Or it could be whoever has the most money gets whatever they want. They did kind of touch on that in Harry Potter, I'll be honest. But corruption can mean so many things, and they never got specific. Give us specific examples. What does that actually entail? Is it systemic corruption? But the author seemed to posit that it was individual people were corrupt, not the system. And so like as long as we're replacing people, the system is perfect, but you just have to have the right people in charge. I don't know about that. Like you would think there's some systemic issues here. But so like that's the problem when you go too broad. It's just and it's so broad that nobody will disagree with it. Well, nobody's gonna be like, I like corruption. What will happen though is when you get into specific examples, the people disagree on is that corruption, or is this corruption but for the greater good, right? Like that when you start getting some specifics, you start losing people on either side. So the same thing with hate. Hate is such a broad thing and can take so many forms. For instance, at the highest levels, there have been monsters in the past in history who have weaponized hate. They specifically are not racist. They specifically don't hate this group of people, but they get power because they know that the small folk blame this particular segment of the population. So I'm going to pretend I believe that so that they will give me power, and then I'll do something about it and to keep them happy, right? I don't believe the highest people in charge were racist or hateful in that way. They just that's the way the wind was blowing, and so that's why they went to keep power, right? And for the small people, their life sucks, and they need somebody besides themselves to blame. So let's blame those people over there. That's how complicated it gets. So where is actually the hate? Like they don't even hate the people themselves. They hate their situation, but they have to blame someone. They can't blame their own choices. They can't do it. No, somebody did this to me. They'll do. I'll blame them. Right? So that's not even hate. Then you get like a very small segment of the population actively hate that other group. Just hate them. Just like they wake up in the morning. That's all they do is they hate them. For some kind of bizarre reasons you couldn't even identify. Like they're just psychotic. Okay, that group actually hates. But then the other group, if you could address their actual issues or make them face the fact that like it's their problem, that's how you get rid of the hate. Then the group at the top, in power, they're only pretending to hate people, so you can never talk about the hate because that's how they keep power. So how do you combat that, right? Like this is I'm just brushing a surface. It's such a complicated issue because it's so broad. Now, if you want to specifically say, give a specific example, the Mountain Village hates the Hidden Leaf Village because 100 years ago the Hidden Leaf Village came in and burned all their huts to the ground and killed their leaders and took slaves. Okay, that's a specific example. That's why they hate you. Well, then you have to come back. You have to apologize. You have to give reparations, address the wrong, maybe heal the wounds, come and save them from something nowadays. But you could come and save them, but then you also have to have the apology. You also have to have the reparations. Make a concerted effort over a number of years. You can heal that wound. Look at what happened. Japan hated America. America hated Japan, and now we're really close allies. How did that happen? Well, it took 20 years, probably, at least. It took our soldiers over there on the ground for years, and those soldiers to see the Japanese people as human, actual human beings, and the Japanese people see the soldiers as actual human beings, interact with them. daily. Okay, they're not monsters. That's one of the ways you heal. Then also just the way the two governments are interacting and what they're doing for each other. That's the way you heal. Some choices made at the time of the surrender. They didn't remove the monarch. If the Americans in power had removed the monarch, that hate the Japanese still might hate us. So they made certain decisions, and then there was just work on the ground over years. That's how you heal the hate. But now we're close allies. Hell, even America and England. Like, we were at each other's throats twice. We had 2 wars. Now closest of friends. Like, it can happen. It just takes hard work and it takes years. It takes a lot of time. But this show, I don't think, is going very deep on any of this. Like, it's just the broad term, hate is bad. Well, all babies should eat, Like, it's so broad, there's nobody can disagree with this. Like I said before, once you start getting to specifics, then you're going to start losing people. I don't think the show's going to go that deep. I think the show is just hate is bad. Violence is bad. It's pretty broad, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of interesting because I wasn't really sure the show was going there. So that's kind of interesting. We'll see how they handle it. We'll see what they do, how broad they get, or whether they get into any specifics, where they show specifically, in this specific use case, this is how you heal hate. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and I'm going to rewatch that scene where he was arguing with the adults, and because I had thoughts, but like it was happening so effing fast, there just wasn't time for me to like break it down. So I'm going to rewatch it now, and then I'm going to have some thoughts on that. It's interesting. Okay, first of all, he called him Masters, which is interesting. He's deferential. And then the guy in the middle is like, the fact you're here, does that mean you defeated pain? And he gets reflective. He says it doesn't matter who won and who lost. That's so reflective. It's such a change for him. Like, this storyline is changing him more than I think we've seen anybody get changed, or specifically him get changed by anything. And I think it could be like he thinks Kakashi's dead. I still don't believe it, by the way. Show me. Like, we're having breakfast tomorrow and he's in his grave and he hasn't come back yet. Then I'll believe it. That ain't happened yet. It's been a lot of episodes, but that hasn't happened yet. But anyway, he thinks he's dead. He knows Pervy Sage is dead. Does he know if his pseudo-girlfriend is still alive? I think so. I know other people know that, but I don't remember if he knows it. I think so. But anyway, he's got a lot on his head, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of grief here. A lot has happened. There's been a lot of loss. A lot of people have died in the village regardless, right? Because of all the damage. So that's his heavy heart, I think. So that's why he has this like very reflective attitude. I'm only 2 lines in, but what's interesting? Okay, then they're like, "Tell me what happened." He's like, "I don't know. It's really hard to explain." Why, right? And then the guy's like, "I don't understand. What do you mean by that?" And then Naruto's like, "It's not important." Why can't you just say I smashed him? I smashed them all. Like, he doesn't even care, right? He doesn't care that he defeated the puppets. I guess it's no more exciting than if you shot down some drones. Like, he didn't really accomplish anything. I take this to mean that what happens next is what he's going to actually accomplish. He'll feel like he's accomplished something with what happens next. He doesn't feel like he's accomplished anything yet, is the way I take it. Then he says, "I need to go on alone." And then they have the commercial break, which is a good place to put a break. He's saying he's got to go on alone. And he gets questioned on that by the blonde guy. And he's like, "I want to check something. There's something I want to check out." He's like, "Check out?" I can see both sides here. Remember, I started off on the adult side. Like, this is idiotic. But something about the way Naruto was acting convinced me, and I was on his side pretty quickly. But like I said, the conversation was moving so fast. It was hard to keep up, and it's hard to really collect my thoughts during it. Yeah, now he's pissed off. He's like, "I want to talk to him. The real pain." He's like, "What? You're just talking nonsense." This is where you start to lose me. Like, hear him out. Like, okay, what's wrong with talking? Like, you can still kick his ass if the talking doesn't work. So I'm wondering if he just thinks, well, this little boy thinks he knows better than us. Let us handle this. Like, and I've said this before. There's such an interesting power imbalance going on here in this series. First of all, you have the child soldiers, which is a problem. It's problematic as hell. But then it seems like the kids are stronger than the adults. You got people who have been ninja for 15 or 20 years, who you think would have accumulated so much knowledge, so much technique, so much experience that no 15, 16-year-old could ever defeat them. But then they're getting the floor mopped with them, right? Like these 15, 16-year-olds come in there and just mop them. Or regular, like a middle rank ninja should still be better. A 35-year-old middle rank ninja should still be better than a 16-year-old who has way more potential. We talked about like the NFL draft and NFL players. And a 35-year-old quarterback is a perfect marriage of physical ability and mental acuity and experience. He's still physically able to do everything. And mentally, he has 10, 15, 13 years experience in the NFL, right? That's the perfect marriage. Then once he starts getting older, 36 to 40, he starts to lose the physical abilities. He gains more knowledge, but he just can't physically do what he was able to do before. So 35 is perfect, right? He still has a physical ability, and he has so much accumulated knowledge. There is no rookie. I don't care if this 35-year-old quarterback is a 7 out of 10, and this 23-year-old rookie is a 15 out of 10 in talent. He still can't defeat the 35-year-old, like, quarterback versus cornerback or something, linebacker. Because the quarterback, the 35-year-old, has so much accumulated experience, even though he's not physically anywhere close to as good as the rookie just doesn't have the experience. You just can't bridge the gap. You have to get at least a couple years experience before you can ever hope to achieve that level. You just have to, right? So you would think any 30 to 35-year-old ninja would be twice as old, twice as much, 4 times as much experience. Because, the 16-year-old ninja maybe has 10 years experience, maybe that's pushing it. Whereas the 35-year-old has 30 years experience. They should always win, but they don't. We've seen them get their asses kicked. Even though he's mid-level and the rookie's so much better, the 16-year-old's so much better, but the experience you think would bridge it, would make it impossible to bridge the gap, but it doesn't. These kids are kicking their asses. So talent matters more than age and experience. And think about what that would be like. Think about like you've been a ninja for 30 years, but you just don't have the talent. You're mid-level. You're mid-rank. You've maxed out your potential and you're a 6 or 7 out of 10. And this young punk with almost no experience is already better than you because they're a 9 out of 10. Think about how frustrating that would be. That's a lot of what I think is happening here. It's frustrating because I'm an adult and I have all this experience and you're half my age, more than half my age, and you're going to come in here talking shit like you know better than me just because you have more talent. Like, that's where I think a lot of the anger is coming from. I could be projecting a lot of shit here, but like there's this undercurrent here. There's this thing where you get these mid-talent adults who they're like they're in like dead-end jobs essentially, and they're seeing other people just rise up so much better than them, will always be better than them. From the day they walk out of the first exam, they're better than you, and they're 20 years younger than you. Like, imagine how frustrating that is. See, he's like, just talk, what are you talking about? And then Naruto's like, well, tell me, if we destroy Pain, his minions, his village, and everything, would that solve things? That's an interesting question because, on one hand, yes, it's age-old questions. Like, I don't believe in state-sponsored execution. I don't believe, like, I find it icky that people can be paid to punch a clock and draw a salary to kill somebody, right? That day you go into work, you're killing somebody, that's your job. So on the ground level, it's icky. And then the fact that, that we know the system of law is imperfect and there's imbalances and stuff, and, poor people are much more likely. How many rich people have been executed? Like, come on. So there's all that going on. I just think that at the end of the day, being alive in prison, you're never getting out of prison, I think is a worse punishment than dying. Like, say you get executed at 28. I think living to be 80 in prison is a much worse punishment than being executed at 28, if we're talking about punishment. So, like, these are all my thoughts, right? But I will say this. There is one thing we can guarantee. If you execute this person, he or she will never commit another crime because they're effing dead. So, I do believe that. So that's the counter argument to everything I just said. Because it's like, well, that doesn't solve anything. It's like, it solves one thing. This person will never commit another crime. So it does solve that, right? So I have to be fair. Like, that is the other side of the argument. Here, Pain and his minions and his village will never commit another crime. That is one thing that will get accomplished. they will never commit another crime. So, you've accomplished that. So, like, I can see both sides, but I get what he's saying here. It's like, you want to get to the heart of the matter, the root of the issue here. And, but this has just become a screaming match. So nothing really is going to get accomplished with this conversation. This dude's so mad. And so now he's talking about, it's almost a straw man. But I think there's a lot of frustration here. There's a lot you can read into this. Alternate character interpretation, all that. He's like, we could never forget all the shit he's done. They destroyed our city. We could never forgive him. See, that is one thing. This is a very specific, this is the hate. I think I'm starting to see this. The cycle of hate. The point here is, this actually is more specific than I thought it was. The point here being made is, they destroyed our city. So, now we're mad. Now we hate them, and nothing will ever satisfy that hate. This is a very specific example. So, what I think Naruto is going to be like, yeah, you destroyed our city, but we forgive you. That's how you stop hate, right? I think I see that's actually a specific example. I didn't realize that before. It has to start with you. That's what's so frustrating about this cycle of violence and cycle of hate shit. Only a good guy can stop it, because a bad guy is already a bad guy. They're already prone to violence. They're already prone to getting revenge. They're never going to stop the cycle of hate. They're never going to stop their cycle of revenge. So it has to be a good guy who does it. It has to be like, yeah, you screwed me over. Yeah, you hurt me, but I stopped the cycle here. It has to be a good guy. And that is frustrating. Why does it always have to be us, right? So this is more specific than I thought it was now that I'm seeing this conversation a second time. And then Naruto's like, yeah, I know. You think I forgive him? I want to crush him for what he did to our village. But, shit, they didn't let him finish. I thought Naruto was going to say, but then the blind guy's like, then why do it? And then the other adult steps in. So I wanted to hear the but there. It's like, yes, I want to crush him. I want to destroy him for what he did. But there's a better way. We got to stop the cycle. But he got interrupted before he could say that, if he was going to say it. Yeah, I think that's the end of the interesting part of the conversation. Is the guy steps in. He's like, let's respect his wishes. Interesting. Oh, yeah. I do like the way that Shikamaru, I think is his name, his dad stepped in. And he's like, look, I trust him. He's the guy who's not frustrated. Because I think he's probably a better, more talented ninja than the blonde guy. Less frustrated. I know I'm projecting. I'm making a lot of assumptions here. But I'm trying to explain why one is so angry and one isn't. And that's what makes sense to me. Well, I'm glad I revisited the conversation, because I actually got a lot out of that. And this is one of those things where, if it wasn't a full reaction, I would have stopped and parsed it out and backed it up and, did this during the episode. But it is valuable to still do it here.